Welcome back, everybody. The Academy pitching is today. Pitching is ultimately one of my favorite things. Okay? The ultimate control, all the control relies on you and dictates your team success. So when you perform well, your team does well. If you perform bad, typically the team can rally back around that. Still win the game. You may have a rough time, but if you do your job to keep your team in it, then you still did your job. I mean, you can still sit there and critique it. I know I would. I mean, when you go out and throw, you're not gonna always be absolutely perfect, and that's the beauty of this game, the beauty of baseball. So you got to keep that mindset when you're pitching. Yeah, I mean, can you be a little bit overcritical of yourself if you want to be better? Yeah, sure. Nothing wrong with that. But also remember, you still give your team a chance to win. You may still have ended up being the winning pitcher that game. Whether you won that game 1-0 and you absolutely dominated, or the game was 10-9, you gave up 6 earned runs in the first 5 innings. But you still battled for 5 straight innings and still gave your team a chance to win the game, right? Still won the game 10-9, but your offense showed up that day, battled for you when you were having a hard time, okay? So, I mean, a couple things that we're gonna hash out today, are some of the mechanical things that you should be looking at. I'm going to show most of it through video, because if you don't know by now, my ACL is pretty much gone right now. Eventually I'm going to go get it fixed, but, so I was definitely able to do these with a healthy knee, and, I just don't want to risk it popping out. It's popped out too many times this week. It's a little sore. So, I mean, I'll do the best I can going through it, and showing how you can try to counter that and work on some of these things that we're going to talk about. So, some of the pitching basics, okay. First thing is balance point. Alright. Balance point. Get rid of that terminology, period. Alright. You can call it balance point, but you're really not balancing at the top. And a lot of coaches who teach this, and I know my coach used to, back in the day, was you stop, you practice with your leg up, okay, like your front leg up, and you're sitting there bouncing on the back leg. The reason that's a bad idea is because you're stopping your motion, your first motion, which is going to create a lot of wasted energy, okay, just like hitting. We don't want our head moving up and down. Okay, makes us lose focus of our target, and we don't want to lose focus of our target. So I mean, when you're doing it, you're gonna have lean. Okay, and I'm gonna show a video that I found from Top Velocity. I'm not stealing their stuff. I saw it. They posted it, so I'm gonna use it. I mean, it's public, so I mean, I'm allowed to use it. Just showing, the balance point, like the hips and shoulders being closed at landing. Okay, that's another thing. I mean, I can still go through and show, but I'm still gonna show that video slightly with no volume or nothing. Okay. Where your foot should be at land. Okay. Making sure that you're landing in a straight line with your front foot and all your momentum going through your target. Okay. That's one of the biggest fixes, especially among young guys. It's just getting them to focus all their energy going through the target. Okay. Get the release, get that finish, get the follow through. Get all your push going forward. Okay. That's one of the easiest fixes that you can give, you know, 10-year-old or 10-year-old, 8-year-old, whoever. It's so easy for them to comprehend. And then, you know, I will go over some drills. One of my favorites was the Tim Lynchcomb one. It's all about the follow through. So your release point, making sure your release point is extended out in front. Now, I'll point those out in the video. When we get to them, I'm going to kind of fast forward and get to those points within the video. So, I mean, I don't know if a lot of people ever go shooting. Maybe bow and arrow might be a better reference if you're shooting a bow and arrow. I mean, because you want to shoot that bow and arrow, you want to have it out front, right? And when you pull it back, everything is in line. You're kind of using that whole front shoulder to aim it at your target, that whole arm. Okay, so it's kind of, I call it the gun barrel. Where you're using that front shoulder to keep it in, lock it in, and then when you go to explode, that's when you get all that rotation, okay, into your pitching motion. And last thing is your eyes. Okay, where are you looking at your target? Too many of us, especially young guys, trust me, I did it. You get prone to looking at the catcher's glove. Okay, but your pitches may be moving a different way. Maybe you don't have enough arm strength to get there, so it kind of like comes up and down. So you may struggle to throw strikes if it's going up and down, if your eyes are just right on that catcher's target. So in order to counter that, you gotta put your eyes a little bit higher. So maybe on the mask, and then boom, lands right in the glove. Okay. One of the prime packs, once you get these mechanical things down, we'll go through the prime pack, and then I'm going to be talking a little bit more with reference points, because reference points all refer to the movement on your pitches. So, I mean, this is when you get to the point where you're throwing with high velocity, you're creating good movement, you know. So, let's say it's your two-seamer, right? If I got my eyes right here, okay, but my I put my eyes right here, and my two-seamer is moving, let's say, this much. Do you think I'm going to hit that target and throw it there? No, because with my movement, it's going to end up over here, okay? So the catcher's going to be over here. So you're going to be missing your target, missing the strike zone, or you may luck out and still hit the strike zone, okay? But don't leave the chance, especially with your eyes. I mean, your eyes are huge on where you look, so make sure you're getting that down. And then, of course, the follow through. The follow through is super important to prevent injury and also to create a little bit more velocity in your pitch, okay? It helps your arm to relax. Relaxed muscles are fast muscles, okay? So, balance point. Let's go into the video real quick. Okay, let's switch over to that video. I may need to move the screen. Yep, just a little bit. I'm gonna come up here, move it over. Okay. I'm not gonna play it with sound. We're just gonna go over some of the things that we were talking about. Okay. If you can see my mouse, I'm gonna point out the different things. So right here, notice when the front leg comes up. Okay. Notice when, I mean, you got two pitchers, and they even pause it too at the point. Look at the back leg right there. Before it moves, I'm going to pause it, and you see the upper body. That's balance point. Okay. All that weight, all that energy is in that back leg to drive forward. Okay. Same with him. Alright. And then we were going to go with hips and shoulders being closed at the point. Okay, at the point of land. he's gonna talk a little bit about the heel. We don't need to really worry about that too much right now. I mean, later on, definitely, but notice, okay, he kind of stops right there. And if you go through this video, because I will post it for you, you'll notice the front leg is always relaxed. It just goes for the ride, right? The back leg is the one doing all the work. Okay, front leg just goes for the ride. You kind of slide it through. Right here, notice, straight line. That was the second point. Straight line at land. Okay, his front foot and back foot are all in a straight line. Even here. Okay, let's fast forward a little bit. Okay, they got a little bit of a lean to them. I would say, if your release point is a little bit off, before you implement this kind of shoulder lean, kind of being backward and up to get it across, to get a consistent release point, to be more upright at this position where these shoulders are even. Okay, so your head isn't looking up. I mean, you can notice with him a little bit, those shoulders aren't as up. Okay, so from right here, if you were to draw a line and then draw a T, his shoulders are pretty even. Okay, his head is still pretty even. It's not really looking up too much. Okay, and that's kind of the position you want to be in, right here. Okay, and you notice when they're pushing, since they're staying in a straight line, this is helping their hips stay closed. You notice the hips right here staying closed. The shoulders are pinpoint. So when you land, this is what's going to create your power within your rotation, along with the push from your back leg. Alright? So let's move on. Let's get them at landing point. Okay, a little bit further and then I'm going to pause it. Because what he's doing is he's breaking down him with a side-by-side with one of the guys that does it really well what they're talking about. Okay. And this is top velocity, and they're all about maximizing the velocity in your pitch. So they're breaking down the mechanics right here, because the mechanics are gonna get you to the point that you're gonna throw harder. Okay. Okay. So right here, the front foot is now opened. Okay. He did enough to keep his hips closed, and even here the hips are still closed. Okay, but they're starting to open up a little bit, which is fine. You start worrying about the hips opening up as if you are stepping off. So say his land, okay, that's straight up with the back foot, right? So if his foot landed over here, his hips would be wide open, and then it flies the shoulders open. Okay, that's why you want to stay on that straight line. If you're coming over here, your hips are not going to be in a good rotational spot, allowing yourself to, first off, you're barely, as a righty, you're not going to hit the away spot to a righty. You're going to be better off hitting the inside corner, the inside pitch to a righty. Also, this is limiting your hip and shoulder rotation. Okay, so even when you get right here, it's kind of like hitting the rubber band stretch. You're kind of getting that stretch. Okay, you notice they got that big chest, getting that rotation in it, getting that power into their pitch, and guess which direction they're all going from the rubber? Forward. Okay, everything is forward. okay, going through their catcher. You want to throw through your catcher. Alright? So at land, you want that foot to be a little bit open. It could be like a 45 degree to allow your hips to stay closed a little bit longer. Okay, and if you're struggling with something like this, just like the hitting drill, I mean, one of the easiest fixes you can do is put an object in that spot. So say your bucket, your hat, okay, to prevent them from stepping on it or stepping in that direction. That can help to cure that. Like I mentioned, the gun barrel. Look, he's got his gun barrel right there, engaged, closed all the way through the target. Now he's about to rotate. Well, now we're going to get to the release point. Now he's about to rotate those shoulders and get that arm out front. Okay, that arm's going to be out here. So I think they zoom out a little bit for each one. But you're going to see now the release point. Now he's going through his rotation. Alright. You see how much he's driving off that back leg. The shoulders, when he comes to land, are parallel to the ground. Let's get him to release point. Okay, so this is their arm action. So let's just show the big chest. Okay. The big chest. We'll see why now we need to take care of our arms, do the arm care, because look at the position of the arm. If you could really zoom in on that picture, you'll see those tendons being stretched from the velocity, and it's just an unnatural motion. So we gotta make sure we're taking care of our arms in the same process. Okay. Now let's see release point. So he's going to start releasing out front. You see him releasing out front. Yep, he's zooming out to show where he is releasing. He's a little bit high. So if I had to take a guess, he throws a lot of high pitches. Unless he's throwing an off-speed pitch right here. If so, he's kind of giving away his off-speed a little bit right there. Let's see what the kid he's showing is doing at release. But you see how he released a little bit high. It looks like he's releasing more out front. Okay, so I would say he has a better release, even though he's comparing and showing him to him. So yeah, it looks like he's releasing out front of the bill. Oh, he hasn't released yet. So yeah, he's in a pretty good position. All right. He's releasing out front, extending that arm all the way out toward his target. And that's another good thing that you can do with your pitchers is you give them the mindset if you want them to release, because if you're coming up short, that ball's going to come up short. You want to get it all the way out and extend it. Okay. The arm is all the way straight, out front the eyes. Okay, and the mindset that you can give your young pitchers to be able to train this is to pretend like you're gonna, when you go to throw that ball, you're gonna knock the catcher's glove right off his hand. Okay, that helps to get them out front, training out front. Okay, and then we'll talk about the follow through here in a little bit. Okay, so that was the end of the video on the release point. We mentioned the gun barrel. Okay, so the eyes, which are super important, so I'm just going to pause that, come back. We don't want to be just straight up looking at the catcher's glove. If the pitch is straight, then sure. If it has like no movement, then fine. If it's not really going up and down, okay, you can for sure get away with that. But once you start getting into your breaking pitches, once you start creating movement on your pitches, you're gonna have to refrain your eyes just a little bit to be able to get it to that target without the catcher having to move that glove. Okay, so like I mentioned, the two seam. At times I used to struggle with my two seam, and then like over the last few years, it just seems like it just disappeared on me, which I don't understand. But that used to be one of my bread and butter pitches, and I mean this thing used to move on me like 6 inches. Like, yeah, I mean, it was insane. So for me, okay, so say this is the outside corner, you know, the catcher's set up out here. I need to be looking over here, okay, in order to get it right into his glove and allow that movement. So, I mean, your eyes dictate a lot, alright? So let me pause real quick. Let me set up my living room, my training space, I'm sorry. And, I mean, your house is one of the best ways to get better at this game. And let me just walk you through some drills. But before we do, I do want to emphasize training from the stretch a little bit more. Okay? Here's why. Young pitchers don't like working the stretch because they feel like they don't throw as hard first, because they don't know how to create the momentum out of the stretch. The windup, you create the momentum very, very well. It's all free and moving, okay? I'm so sorry. I get the hiccups every now and then, but we want to train stretch because we want to be able to pitch from the stretch, okay? Because your most important pitches are going to come from the stretch. Every single time. Your most important pitches in a game are going to come from the stretch. You're going to give up hits. Learn to pitch from the stretch. Okay? The stretch, once you learn from it, it is one of the best ways. Honestly, I feel like I pitch better from the stretch. And at one point, you know, I did have the windup in my men's leagues, and then I went to the stretch because it seemed like, I mean, they were getting hit, you know, either a leadoff or one out, and I was always pitching from the stretch anyway, and then I was always getting into some pickles or whatever, but I just got so comfortable pitching from the stretch, and, you know, I had a pretty good success that summer, but I was pitching from the stretch, and I noticed that, and I picked that up. So I just implemented just going straight up from the stretch. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either. And some pitchers just do better pitching from the stretch and create more consistency. But the thing is, you gotta learn to get that back knee push and generate through your target using back leg and creating your momentum where you don't have that extra step to be able to create that momentum. Okay? And a lot of young pitchers don't want to do that in their bullpen sessions because they don't want to take the chance of, you know, looking bad. Me personally, I make them pitch straight up from the stretch every single bullpen session. Okay, there is no windup. Okay, there may be a little bit of windup, but I mean, for the most, like 5 pitches. I mean, because everybody can pitch from the windup. But you pitch from the stretch, I mean, first off, it's not going to ruin your mechanics in your windup. If anything, it's just going to ruin, I wouldn't say ruin, but it's going to mess up your timing and your rhythm a little bit in your windup. But, I mean, other than that, the mechanics are all the same. You're just subtracting out all that step and then the rotation to create that momentum. Okay? But you learn to pitch from the stretch, you're going to be better off, because then now you're going to get in those situations where you need to pitch from the stretch, and then you can still be successful no matter what. So anyway, let me get set up real quick, and we will go through a couple of drills that you can do, and we'll just go over pitching from the stretch. Okay, we'll give you wind up for stretch. Okay, kind of what I was just talking about. Alright, so let's go over those mechanic things, okay, with pitching. So with pitching, they talk balance point, right? A lot of coaches are like, balance point. And I know I was taught this, right? Staying here, being at a good balance point, okay? Reason that's a bad idea is because then you got your first motion out of this, okay? It's down to generate that power through, okay? So we're not trying to stop that motion, okay? So here, and we're getting everything going. So I mean, one way to do it is turn your hips a little bit in to get that power going forward from the start, okay? And a good way to train this is get up against the wall. The wall's going to win every single time. I will guarantee you that. It's going to push you forward. So let's see if I can stay in the video right here. Okay, perfect. So right here, I'm going to come set. So I'm going to have my foot up against the wall. Okay, I'm going to come set. I can't go back. So the second I lift my foot, boom, I'm going forward. Okay, and it doesn't take much of a lift. The wall's going to bump your body forward. So you can do that to train that first movement being forward. Okay, and another way to do it is, if you're really struggling with it, look at your foot. Turn your foot in, okay? This is going to limit the motion within your knee, and it's going to force you to go forward, okay? So I turn my foot in, and I'm just going to lift my leg, okay? You see how I was already going forward, okay? Already going forward, okay? And I already got all my weight, all my power in that back leg, okay? So balance point is not what everybody used to teach. If you were taught it, scratch it, okay? Teach this way. It's the new way, it's the only way, okay? If you want to be able to throw faster, I mean, it's one way to maybe add on maybe a mile per hour or two, okay? Rather than stop and get going again. Okay, your hips and shoulders are closed at landing. So let's show it from the front. So after you land here, okay, my carpet's sliding a little bit on me. Okay, my hips, my shoulders are squared. Okay, you should be able to see your number or your name on the back of your shirt. That's you creating that good torque within your upper body. Okay, and when you land, that front foot should be roughly 45 degrees upon landing, okay? And you want to make sure you're landing in a straight line. Okay, if you're landing on that, off that straight line, mostly there, my knee just popped, sorry about that, got to readjust. If you're landing, okay, I'm just going to preset it here so I don't have to slide, okay? You want to make sure that you set something there, okay, just like hitting, okay, to keep you, you know, about 3 inches or so on that straight line. Okay, that's going to create more accuracy and less limitation in your hip rotation, or because if you close yourself off, you're creating limitation within your hip rotation, your upper body, okay? If you're opening way up, you are virtually losing energy within your throw. You're landing about straight line. You're be making sure that everything is in line and in a perfect spot to be able to get the most energy into your pitch, okay? So when you land, like I was saying, that foot should be 45 degrees. I'm just going to preset it. Okay, get in that position. Okay, about 45 degrees. Okay, I'm a righty. If you look at a clock, it should be about 3 o'clock. Then I make my pitch, okay? Then everything opens up. But you want to keep everything closed, okay, upon landing, okay? Your release point, okay? So I'm going to preset here, get my foot here, get my position, so when I go to release, it's boom, okay? I'm here, foot's coming through, I follow through, okay? When you follow through, your back should be low, your arms should be carrying loose on this side. Too many times, especially young pitchers, sometimes they feel like when they get everything, they have to get everything in their throw. They're kind of stiff and forced to follow through and kind of stop it. Don't stop it. Just let it go through. Okay. Let the arm dangle a little bit. Okay. You tensing up those muscles can lead to injury when you do that. Okay. Loose muscles, you may prevent an injury from occurring. So we need to work on that and work on our drills that I'm going to show you. So release point, even if it's a curveball, boom, and follow. Okay, it's all the same release point. Okay, same extension. And one way to solve an extension problem, you know, somebody that may be shorting it. So if they're shorting it, and the only thing you keep telling them is, hey, you're short arming it, give them the fix. Okay, here, hey, reach out as far as you can and make sure you knock the catcher's glove off his hand. Okay, and that also helps with the follow through as well. And then you're going to see a huge difference. Okay, so the gun barrel. So that mentality is when you're here, okay, everything's in a straight line, okay. I'm using my shoulder as the barrel to get everything going in a straight line follow through, okay. You come off that, you're gonna miss your target, right? If you look off from where the barrel is pointed and you look elsewhere, you're going to miss your target. You're going to shoot someone else. An accident may occur, right? So when you have that mentality, gun barrel helps keep those shoulders closed. If you're looking here and you feel yourself or you see yourself come off, you know how to fix it without the coach having to tell you. Your eyes, super important. Too many young pitchers, we just look right at the catcher's glove. And I'm telling you, some of these young catchers, they're not fully trained yet. And they're only sitting there, glove sitting there, you know, not a great stance. And we just gauge ourselves on the glove. Well, especially if you're young, you don't have quite the arm strength yet, your ball may be coming up and then coming down. Okay, so look a little bit higher so then you can throw strikes and at least be in that vicinity, right, of the glove. If he has to move to go catch it, awesome, okay? But make sure you're getting it within the strike zone, okay? It's where you're looking, where your eyes are. So when you get a little bit older, you start creating more movement on pitches. Your pitches are coming out straighter with more velocity, creating more spin. They may move on you, okay? Know that movement and know where to look. When you get into prime, we talk about reference points. So real quick, my two-seamer. I used to throw pretty awesome two-seamer, okay? If I'm the catcher and I was looking at the glove and I threw my two-seamer, it'd be like all the way over here, okay? So if I want to hit the glove, when I throw my two-seamer, I need to be looking over here, okay? More at his throwing shoulder to get it into the glove, okay? More at the shoulder or right around the vicinity of the shoulder to, boom, get it right there, okay? Get a strike, okay? So you learn your pitches and your arm strength to know how to be able to throw a strike consistently. And that all comes right in the eyes and where you're looking. Alright, so some drills. Just do dry work. Okay? It's one thing I did to get better at my mechanics. Okay? You just simulate, you get in here, boom. Okay? Go through, boom, follow. Okay? You can do it with and without a ball. Okay? Obviously, you're not going to throw it. You don't want to put a hole in the wall or break a window, break a TV. So you can also, like the next one is get a straight line. So what you're doing is like you're creating a rubber. Mark it off the size of your foot. Okay? And then from about the middle part of your foot, line it all the way out to about where your stride is or even beyond your stride. Okay, so it gives you a better visual. So then when you're here, okay, boom, land. Now I'm checking my lower half. Am I on a straight line? Am I on that line? Am I off it? You know, I got to refocus. Okay? But then even after that, even if you're not using the straight line, you get here, okay, check yourself, boom, boom, and then finish your pitch. Make sure you're following through, everything going in a straight line toward the catcher. Towel drill. My towel is upstairs, so I will modify. I got a blanket right here that you can use. Okay. I mean, you can do all sorts of drills. You can just do them regular. I would probably use my couch. I would move up. You could have a partner. Stick his glove out. You hit it right in the palm of his glove. Or a chair. Okay. So I'm right here. When I come here, I stride out. I'm going to try hitting the table. Boom. And then follow through. What it's doing is it's forcing you to extend your arm out and then whip and finish through. Okay? You can even get into this position, your full stride out here, and then boom, do the drill. Okay? And then the one I love is the Tim Lynchicum one. Okay, just making sure my laptop don't go out on me. Tim Lynchicum one, the $100 bill. His dad used to put a $100 bill on outside of his front foot. Okay, every single time after he finished his pitch, boom, he had to go down, reach down, grab it. He had to come up with it each and every time. Okay, that forced him to follow through. And then you can just do simulation drills. And then one thing I want to, really pound right now, especially with the young guys, learn to throw from the stretch early. Okay? Wind up, super easy. Okay? Because you're already creating your momentum, okay, to throw your pitch. So now we're a little bit more stagnant. We might get a little bit less velo because we can't create as much momentum. So you really got to learn how to throw and generate the momentum. So it's kind of like you're knocking your knees together. Boom, go. Okay? Feel yourself on the bottom half. Okay? Be in a good athletic position. Okay? You being in an athletic position is key to generating your momentum in your pitch. Okay? If you're coming too close, it's hard to get everything going all at once and be in a good athletic position. So a little bit wider shoulder width, being a good athlete, okay, you can generate and create that momentum going back because you kind of want to go back before you go forward. Okay, it's kind of like pitching and it's all generated on the back knee. Okay, so remember your first movement, okay, is getting back on that back knee. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to lean back, lock knuckles, boom, and explode off. Okay? I learned to love this stretch the 1 year, and I just ended up using it in my pitching because it seemed like no matter what, nobody on, whether I get first guy out or second guy, it seemed like every single inning, somebody ended up being on. I had to pitch from the stretch anyway and work out of something. And I became really good out of the stretch and pitching, better than when I'm pitching out of the windup. So I just went straight stretch, and I was pitching better. And I felt like I was more of a pitcher. When I'm in the windup, I feel like I'm more of a thrower because I can generate more velocity out the windup. So if that makes sense to you, you can do that as well. But when you're doing your bullpen sessions, focus more on the stretch rather than the windup. Still do the windup, especially if you're going to use it. But I would suggest majority of your pitches. So say you throw a 40 pitch bullpen, 30 of those are coming from the stretch. Okay, learn to throw from the stretch. Learn to create that momentum. Okay, get that front leg to the back leg. Okay, here, generate and go. Okay, that's how you generate that power and the velocity out of the stretch. Okay, so do those drills, do your homework, and you're going to become a better pitcher, you know, if you can fully understand it. If not, hit me up on the Facebook group, and I will get you some answers.